All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking about politics and music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Yeah, it's election day 2020 and I'm going to wade into the cesspool known as politics and I'm going to give you my 2 cents worth. And that's all it's worth. 2 cents. Don't listen to me. You don't have to. You can listen to me talk about this, which is great. If you want to, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and join me on Patreon if you want to weigh in with your own viewpoints. Rock stars continue to tell me what to do with my vote, which I find really interesting. And I'm not saying that rock stars don't have free speech rights. But, and this is interesting, because I'm going to get to the free speech part of this. But it's weird that the rebellious rock stars among us, I mean, you're growing up and you're watching Axl Rose and you're thinking, here's a rebel, right? Dee Snider, Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it. Dee Snider, a guy who went before Congress to defend free speech. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, who again were rebels from day one back in the 1970s with their band Kiss. And you can go down the list. It seems as though there is a very monolithic way to view things if you are a rock star. And it has nothing to do with rebellion anymore. It actually has far more to do with conformity than rebellion. It would be interesting if a rock star got up and said, none of these people are really any good. But they don't even do that. They don't go, our system needs to be overhauled. It's broken. It's just a dog and pony show. It's a pageant. It's a lot like, a Kiss rock concert. But nobody gets up and says that. They tend to critique one viewpoint and they tend to exalt another viewpoint. But tell you what, I'm not taking marching orders from Sebastian Bach or Dee Snider or any of these people. I think for myself. And if you don't think for yourself, then I think this is why we have the problems that we have right now. Because people don't do research. They don't get to know candidates based on issues. They don't understand accomplishments. They also don't seem to vote in their own self-interests anymore. It's about a team. I'm on this team. This person is on the other team. I'm supposed to hate that person, by the way, and I'm not supposed to talk to them. This wasn't... I lived through the 1980s. I lived through the 70s a little bit. This wasn't America, 30 plus years ago. We all came together, for instance, when that first Gulf War started. I remember because I was there. I didn't necessarily agree with it later on, but we came together and most people understood why we were doing it, what we were doing, and so forth. I'm just using that as an example, as a focal point where people from both sides could kind of get along. And now it's just anarchy. It's anarchy. And I'll be honest with you today, I'm really depressed. I'm depressed for my country. I'm not afraid necessarily, but I am very depressed. Because there are consequences to elections. And people tend to internalize those consequences far more than maybe they should. In other words, if your candidate doesn't win, your life tends to be over. People wake up and they have various syndromes where they can't function in society anymore because their way of thinking wasn't embraced by the Electoral College. And I would say the majority, but we have an Electoral College, which a lot of people don't even understand what that is. So it's interesting that rock stars who used to be rebellious And I made this point in other videos. They used to say, hey man, you know, we're sticking it to the boss, the guy who thinks he's in control of us. And a lot of rebellion in rock was mindless. It was just, if they're going this way, I'm going the other way. And it didn't make sense, but it was part of rebellion. You know, conformity. I'm not going to wear the clothes that this person is wearing. You know, those Twisted Sister videos. That was all about rebellion. Rebellion against authority. Now it seems these people embrace authority. Just because they're a little bit older? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, you know what you should do on election day? Be rebellious. That's what you should do on election day. If you see a bunch of lemmings going over a cliff, why would you follow them over that cliff? If people aren't representing your best interests, why would you vote for them because a rock star told you you should do it? And be careful with language, because Axl Rose today says you should vote for democracy. Really? Hey, Axl, if free speech doesn't actually work anymore because you can't say what you want to say, because somebody's going to take down your post, all right, and censor you, then there is no democracy. All right? So if you want to preserve democracy, you need to be voting for people who believe in free speech and the free exchange of information. Even if you vehemently disagree with that information, and even if you think that information is false or misleading, that information needs to be part of the whole conversation. Let the people try to figure out if that information is valid or not. Let them do some research. Maybe they'll become better informed and more educated on things. And that's what free speech is all about. Free speech is your ability to be rebellious and to be skeptical and to disagree and to be a contrarian. Most of rock and roll was like that when it was founded. Now it's become part of a large corporation, a money-making corporation. And the best way to run that corporation is to agree with the corporation that sponsors you. I know this is kind of deep thinking here, but just go with me. You know, a lot of these people who run these large organizations, whether it be radio networks or record labels, they tend to all think the same way. And the people who are serving those corporations or working for those corporations, they tend to have to think the same way as well. There's no spirit of rebellion. There's no, you know, I'm going to look after this artist even though I disagree with their politics or their views on something. It's really interesting these days how people fall in lockstep with their corporate masters. But that's what's happened. And it's just depressing to watch. Like I said, I'm depressed on election day. I'm not excited about this because this is just more groupthink. This is more thought police. This is more censorship. This is all of these things, and I think worse things are on the horizon if we don't get our heads out of the sand and decide to say no to it. So again, you may love your favorite rock star. You may think Guns N' Roses, greatest band ever. I don't. Personally, I like them, but I don't love them. And you may think that Axl Rose has got something to say because he wrote like November Rain. That's fine, but he's no more an authority on this topic than your common blue-collar worker who's delivering furniture today and who has to work a full schedule even though he probably doesn't want to. Those are the kind of people I'd rather listen to, quite frankly. The people who make the country work, not rock stars. So that's my 2 cents. I told you I was going to give you 2 cents, and quite honestly, that's all it's worth. You've got your own opinions. I don't dislike you, by the way, if you disagree with me. I might dislike you, though, if you try to go after me personally or try to hurt my family or to do something I think that has become commonplace now. We need to appeal to our better angels. We're better human beings. And no matter who wins, right? You've got to have peace with it. You've got to wake up the next day and be able to function like a human being. All right? Otherwise, it's just going to go downhill further and further. We've had 4 years of dysfunctional behavior, if not longer, in this country. And I think that needs to end tomorrow, no matter what happens. All right, so that's my video for today. My name is Dave. Thanks for watching the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell if you want notifications. And join me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and we can have a longer conversation about this topic and many others. Thanks, and have a great election day. Don't stress out.